Hi, this is B from Sorcery Soap, and I wanted to take a moment to explain the books that I have available on soap dough and soap molding. I've been asked this question more than once, and so I can have a video reference of what they're about. And I'll be as quick as possible. The first book I wrote is an ebook only. It has chock full of images, and I can't find a way to publish it that is cost effective for both of us. So right now it's just ebook form, but once you get the email, as soon as you purchase it, you'll get an email sent to you of a link, and then you could download it, and it'll go to your email, and then you could use it, you could read it, you could print it out, you could read it if you have a color printer and you want to do that, or even if you just want black and white, it's okay. But you can print it out. Once it's in your email, you can just read it from anything, you know, your desktop, your handheld, your iPad, whatever. And that book is called An Enchanted Book of Soap Potions and Peculiar Ideas. And the reason that, here's why I wrote it. I wrote it because I got asked the question often, how do you make soap? How do you make soap dough, and how do you mold soap? Very generic questions, obviously, but it prompted me to think much more detailed. So there's some history in there. There's tips and tricks, the things that I've learned through trial and error, thousands of pounds of soap, tons of failures. And there's advice about how to get yourself, and suggestions on how to get yourself in a creative posture, so that different ways to, you know, change your mind about how you see your soap and how you see your day, and how, so that you can become inspired. And in inspiration, if you take action on inspiration, sometimes can, you know, give you really amazing things. And I called, I also wanted to point out that I have a lot of things I want to say, and I'm trying to be quick about it, and I need to slow down. Some of the things about this are that creativity is a source that anybody can tap into. And your unique creativity is an expression of you. It's not, you know, we can model ourselves, we can even copy other people, and sometimes we copy people until we can get a feel for it, or until we can understand ourselves, or understand how we are with that art form. And but at some point, I think it's ideal to tap into that creative personal source. And one of the reasons why I say that is because I've lost everything a couple times in my life, and sometimes by choice and sometimes not by my choice. And what I realized through losing everything is that, I've lost my entire art collection. I've lost all my photographs. I've lost all my material possessions a couple times. So, and what I realized is that when I ask myself that very difficult question, what makes me me, is that I can always create. It doesn't matter what it is, I can always create. I can create from the most mundane things. I could have a stick and draw in the sand. It might not be permanent, but I certainly can create. And in the creation brings me delight, brings me interest in the world, and helps me have wonder about it, because it's so easy to see all the negative things in our worlds, especially now when we're so connected, and see all the people that don't try at all at anything. And we can see it takes effort to see the world with wonder and delight, and to bring beauty into our world, not just to our world in a physical product, but in our minds and how we enjoy the world. And I can tell you all day, just take a moment and go look at a flower, and if that flower doesn't bring you joy, it's pointless. But maybe something else is going to, and maybe that pause is going to. And when we do that, I think that gives me, that for me, that opens the door to some other possibility, to some other creative avenue that I hadn't considered before. Because how many times have you had that idea and you go, or you see somebody that did what you wanted to do and you go, God, I thought of that. Why didn't I take action on it? Or I wish I would have thought of that. And there's ways to position yourself so that you can think of those things and you can stay inspired. And oftentimes I'll lack my inspiration often on Mondays and Tuesdays usually, but I have low inspiration and I go, well, if I'm having some low inspiration, I don't feel particularly inspired by anything, maybe somebody else is too. And so part of my first book is not just about soap molding, how to make soap dough, all the tips and tricks, but how to stay inspired so that once you do all these things, so you have the stuff, you have the tools, you have the soap dough, now what do I do with it? That's the most fundamental thing. And so I give you suggestions in how to trick yourself so that you can start to see the world a little bit more different. And that's my first book. So I'm going to set that aside. 3 recipes in that first book before I set it aside. 3 recipes for soap dough. All my recipes make a great bar of soap as well as soap dough, because soap dough is cold processed soap with a particular type of recipe that is kept from curing. It is fully saponified, which means all the lye particles and all the oil, butter, fat particles have matched each other, and lie's done doing its caustic duty. And then it's just, then once it's fully saponified, it's kept from evaporation. So cold processed soap takes 6 weeks to cure, which minimum of 6 weeks to cure, which is the full evaporation, which is all the water is evaporated out of the bar. The bar is super hard, and then you can weigh it, and that's what you offer to your clients as the proper weight of your soap. But cold processed soap dough is done all that and then put in a plastic bag or sealed in some capacity so that no water evaporates from it. And it also, something happens to the crystalline structure. I don't know anything about that, but something happens to it, because you can take partially cured soap and it doesn't behave as soap dough if it's completely stopped from curing. It's very weird, I know. But then once you've formed your little embeds or done whatever you wanted to do with your soap dough and you let it cure, it becomes hard. So now the first book, an Enchanted book of soap potions and peculiar ideas, brown cover, ebook only, set that aside. Okay, so now I wrote that book and I felt like I still had something else to give, because I have been using, see, these are just 2 of all the recipes I've created. Here's the one I'm currently working on right now. These are exotic oils and butters that I'm working on, and I'm working to try and make some soap dough recipes that are completely palm-free and lard-free. Haven't quite mastered it yet, but I've come up with some really good recipes for mango, apricot, sweet almond oil, a whole bunch of other cool stuff. Meadow foam oil, oh, hands down, one of my favorite oils, super expensive. Tamanu oil, again, makes a beautiful bar of soap. They have amazing properties in them that you can't find in any other oils. Anyway, so this inspired me to create another book for you, and I thought if I find it useful, maybe you all will too. Anyway, this is the book. It's called A Soap Recipe Book of Light and Shadow, because we want to, for me, this is based on my book for myself. And the reason I tell you that is because I wanted to share what actually works for me. And the reason I called it Of Light and Shadow is because I try to take criticism and praise in equal measure, and I try to also value my failures as much as my successes, because the only reason I have the success is because I failed a bunch of times. And after having a bazillion businesses fail, business ideas, businesses, I could see the value of failure. Today I can tell you that. Ask me when I failed and I'll tell you it's worthless, but whatever. Anyway, so here's this book. The spine is consciously put this way, so that way when you lay the book down flat, like I like to lay my books down, and you set it this way, you can actually read it. And then the back is all the ways to connect with Sorcery Soap and copyright information, all that. So I'm going to go through the book as quickly as possible. So the front page is an enchantment page, and it's an acknowledgement that you sign it and date it, and that you take possession of the book. So now it's yours. It's no longer mine. These are all just templates anyway, and they're templates so that you could be supported and know that you're supported along the way, that somebody else has struggled and tried to figure some stuff out, and that now you have a way to move forward. And there's lots of room to grow in this book too, by the way. So there's 20 recipes in here. All make great bars of soap. 20 recipes also all make great soap dough. 10 of them are lard based, so the first ingredient is lard. It makes the most perfect soap, and I can't argue with it. I argue with how we get lard. So I don't have the ability to render it right now, but that's the only part that I have a problem with. And I try to cause more good than harm and do the best I can with what I have. There's also 10 recipes in here that are non-lard based. Some have palm oil. So it's a little bit for everybody. But there are 20 recipes, full recipes in here, and you can use them for cold process, hot process. I have not used them for hot process. I'm sure they work fine because obviously cold process, hot process translates really well, and soap dough. And I know they all make soap dough. So, and we have the introduction. You can't really see introduction. And I explain what all the charts are. I explain some philosophy and blah, blah. Fear and danger of life safety. Know the difference between fear and danger. Big difference. And I explain the use of lie and some of my philosophy and ideas about how to handle lie. Soap trickery, notes, quick notes so that you could just refer back to it if you want to know, how do we fix this? How do we gel our soap? Do we not gel our soap? What molds do we use? Blah, blah. So very quick references. And that's what the whole book is about, is you could take this book apart and you could take it into your soap laboratory, and you don't have to search it on the internet, because I try to give you every single thing that I think is helpful when you're in the middle of making soap and you go, I have a question. I don't know where to get this answered. Here it is. Okay. And then try to do more good than harm, a little reminder, okay? And then we have the enchantment page, so you could pull that out of the sleeve and put it up in your soap laboratory so that you could be remembered, or you could be reminded that you're making something enchanted. Even if it is just a plain bar of soap, and I made 3 bars yesterday, 2 absolutely no colorant, and I was still enchanted. So who knows? I think it might have been the fragrance oil. Here's a quick saponification, properties, all the things that you need to know about each one of the oils and butters. Quick chart. These cards right here, if you could see, you cut these cards out and then you fill in some little details and you tape it to wherever your soap is curing, because everybody forgets details in 6 weeks of the cure time. That is for actual bars of soap. So, and you could use it for your soap dough too. You could just stick it on the bag. These have saved my butt so many times. I can't tell you. I get really busy and all of a sudden I've made a whole bunch of soap and days have gone by and I didn't write my notes, and I have this little thing to refer back to and I can sort of piece it together. Sorcery of fragrances and essential oils. So you can put your list there, how they behaved, where you got them, if you like them, or even just list your inventory. New ideas, always have to have new ideas coming. If you get a little flicker of an idea, write it down. Just write it down. Don't even argue, just write it down. And instead of having sticky notes everywhere, which I always do anyway, put it in here. And I can't tell you how many days that I was like low on inspiration. I went back to my new ideas page and I said, oh, that's a great idea. I feel like doing that today. I'm going to make that. Logins and passwords. All soap suppliers need a login and password. And I have a bazillion email addresses, and I clean out my cache and my history periodically, and so I have to have it written down somewhere. I thought you guys might find that useful as well, so I offered that. Sorcery of order tracking. Order tracking is important. It's really good to know how fast suppliers supply to your area of the country, I think. And also, sometimes I'll go through periods, I have to order a ton of stuff and I can't get it all at one place. And I get everything else from one place and I need to get it from another place. And then I go, oh, where was that one thing? And then I got to go through and look at my email and search my email. Oh, by the way, there's a search feature in your email. If you ever need to search for an email, just up in the corner or wherever, whatever email you use, it has a little magnifying glass, and just put in the term and your old emails will come up. And even that was too much time for me, so I write it down. I obviously like to write. And then you get 2 places for your soap notes, and then you get the recipe on one side. So you can always purchase this whole kit and caboodle as an ebook as well, and assemble the book yourself. And I have the 20 recipes they're $1 a piece, just for sale too. So you don't even have to get the rest of the book if you don't want. You could just get the recipes. But you get to write your notes down, and the notes are like the date, the number of the recipe that you use, the soap name, lye temperatures, water temperatures, lye and water temperatures, oil temperatures, fragrance oils, which stage you added it, because sometimes I add fragrance oils. Fragrance oil maybe behave one way and not behave another way, or colorants, where you got, what color you used, how much you used, and where you got it. Any kind of little detail I use, it's in this book. So there you go. That's that. And now you see the difference, physical difference of both books. The only other point I wanted to make is that creativity is a source. We get ideas all the time. Some of us are inspired by the idea we get, and it seems to sort of run through our herd of humans. And as soon as one person has an idea, another person has an idea. Some people take action on those ideas. And as soon as I have an idea, now I know somebody else probably has that same idea. But it doesn't matter, because if I take action on it and I manifest it through myself, there's no way I can duplicate that. Even if I saw their thing, there's no way I could duplicate it, because I'm not them. So I put up a post the other day about, what was it? It was about competition. There doesn't need to be any competition. Some people really like competition. I don't. I don't even like deadlines. I like the free. I have so many internal deadlines. I have so many internal drives and desires that I don't need those external expectations on me. I can just move into something, and I have this and this and this, and I get it done. That's what I want to do, because I'm self-motivated. I don't need an external motivation. But because of that, I have an ability to tap into that creative place of my own self, of thinking things up and then bringing them from the ethers, and bringing them through, and then I can share them with you. And that's the reason, part of the reason why I brought both books to form, because I want to support that in you, support you to find your own creative voice. Nobody can take that away from you, and nobody can destroy it, and you could lose all your material possessions and you still have it, but not everybody cultivates it. So I think that's gold. I think that's some of the most important things we can do in this world as humans, is create. And this creative endeavor happens to be in soap, and I never in a million years thought I would be working with soap. Just the way things sort of happened. And I think it's funny and comical the way, I used to do photography and put it on, the best paper and have it printed with the best ink so that it lasts 100 years. And that's just such a joke now, because I'm making soap and it's not supposed to last. It's supposed to be enjoyed and then dissolved and maybe made again, maybe not. Doesn't matter. But anyway, coming right up on 20 minutes, and I did the best I could to make this as snappy and short as possible. So thanks for watching, and you're a grown person, so subscribe if you like, and sign up to my newsletter if you want to be one of the first people to know about my soaps that are coming out. And definitely, if you want to know about the interviews, I have some really fun interviews coming up. And Fridays are interview day, so they get worked on for weeks prior to that, and then they get posted and published on Friday, Friday morning at 4 o'clock, actually, 4 a.m. That's Arizona time, so that's really late East Coast time. But yeah, so, and the goal of the interview is to bring to the foreground people that are maybe notable, but you don't know that part of them. Or not notable, maybe they participate in soap groups and they have interesting soaps, but nobody really knows that much about them. So I want to spotlight people that make up our community for whatever particular reason that tickles me. And then if it tickles you too, that's cool too. So if you sign up from the Sorcery Soap newsletter, you'll get that. And I've said in the past that I only send out so many, a couple a month, and that's not entirely true, because now I have 4 that I send out every month now because I'm doing the interviews. And then if I'm inspired, sometimes I write three blogs a week. So then you'll get, that's 4 that you'll get in 1 week. And if I do that every week, that adds up. So I just want to be really clear that I've said it in the past and I renege that. Is that the right word? I'm taking it back. Anyway, so I might have said that and I'll probably send you more stuff than not. But you'll know as soon as I release a soap, you'll know. As soon as there's an interview, you'll know. As soon as there's a coupon, you'll know too. So all that information seems relevant to Sorcery Soap, and if you're interested, then sign up. So here we go. Now it's 21 minutes and I'm over my deadline. So have a great day and thank you for watching, and I hope this helped. Okay, bye.